which means that now August 1 is our contract day. And self-imposed rules, I only do contracts 1 day a month. So August 2 is going to be a fast month. We're probably just going to skip through that and move on to August 3. August 3 will be deliveries. So hopefully once we finish this contract, it will be September very, very quickly. And we are going to need to bring the John Deere up. And yes, John Deere. Having that cart come up on store sales, very, very handy. Very happy with that appearing. Because it certainly made these two contracts a lot easier to transit, having two carts. Although rather than, what I could do is put this on a worker and be filling the second cart while I run over to the store with the Deutz. I'm kind of not doing that. Oh, that's kind of awkward. And of course this cart is a little bit bigger than the other one, so more appropriate for the John Deere, although we've already found it struggles going uphill with this amount of weight on the back. And try not to get too close to the grain or the crop. Okay. Not frequently. What I do is when I add a mod, I think a couple of weeks ago I added 2 mods, or a couple of streams ago I added 2 mods, and one of them seriously misbehaved, so I turned them both off, turned one on, and then tried again. If I'm really worried, then what I tend to do at that point is I will take a copy of this game and add a mod to it, see if it works. If it works, then we add it to the main game, and if it doesn't work, then I'm not adding it right now. One of the things I am intending to do is reorganize our original yard, and so I'll take a copy of this game save and I'll play around, probably cheat some money in and rearrange the yard and see what it looks like. If it works, I'll either save it and basically shift the game save to the new map. If it doesn't work, then I haven't lost anything and I can delete stuff and re-add stuff until I get the yard looking like I want. I'll make a note of all the buildings that I've put there, and I may do that as a stream where we're just rebuilding the yard. And I need that on cruise control. That would be a lot easier. It will not keep stopping when I have to move my office chair. But yeah, the cow yard definitely needs a little bit of reorganisation. I think I need, for one thing, more silage bunkers. Yes, those things. And so I'm going to have to knock a couple of sheds down. But with that second yard now, okay, hang on, I need to count. 7, 8, 9, and cut in on 10. We missed the cut in. But yeah, sorry, with us buying that second yard, I'm now intending to put most of our arable equipment in the second yard. So this harvester's going to live in the second yard. The grain trailers are going to live in the second yard. When I harvest grains, I'm going to drop them in the second yard rather than our cow yard. What goes through my head when I purchase a new tractor? Okay, that's an interesting question. I think, obviously I have ideas of what tractors I need. Right when I start, I know at least a general classification. We typically do good with around 400 horsepower tractor. That John Deere came up, its best horsepower is 388. I wanted a good starting tractor with a fairly good horsepower. We actually started off with a Massey Ferguson 6S and discovered that the horsepower on that was woefully inadequate for the hills on this map. So when the Deutz came up as a store sale, I sold the 6S, I bought that. That was good. 250 horsepower, supports a front loader, supports all the wheel types, and we put the crop sensor on it so that we could maximize our environmental score on precision farming. Now, if you're not playing with precision farming, that doesn't enter the equation. But yeah, 250 horsepower as a starting tractor actually turned out to be quite good based for this map and the hills on this map and stuff like that. The Massey Ferguson came up, and it's sort of, I want that, but I don't want it right this minute, but I know I'm going to need it soon. So I bought the Massey Ferguson. I think I borrowed money and worked off a couple of contracts in order to pay it off. It just so happened that the Massey Ferguson was completely configured for front loader work. It has a front weight. I wasn't really looking for a front PTO. It had the panoramic roof, the attachers for the loader arms, rear wheel weights, which helps balance out the tractor. It was absolutely perfect for front loader and cheap. It just came with a small engine, so we bumped up the engine size by 20 horsepower before we paid for it. Actually, after we paid for it, but that's by the by. But now I'm thinking I probably want another. I either want another 250 horsepower tractor to supplement the Deutz, and that configured more as a field work tractor than as a sort of fertilizer tractor. Or I want something in the 180 to 200 horsepower range that I can put narrow tyres and the other things on and use that as my fertilization tractor. I've even gone down as low as a Valtra G on that count. But I want a tractor for fertilization, spreading, all the things that entails. Herbicide, lime you can do when crop's not there, so having a big lime spreader with a big tractor, I'm open to that. And we do now have the big tractor, so I could get the big lime spreader. Same with manure spreading and slurry spreading. There's no crop in the field, so using a big tractor and having a big piece of equipment for that, again, we've got that in the John Deere. I'm probably going to want one more tractor around 400 horsepower for big field work, ploughing, planting, whatever. We don't have the equipment for it, but eventually we will. And possibly 2 or 3 tractors in the 200-250 horsepower range. So given that, if something comes up in the sale, I'm looking at the tractor and saying, does it fit the parameters of something I need in the future, and how close am I to needing it? I figured we want 3 tractors at this point. Could I use a 4th? Very occasionally I could use a 4th tractor. But should I buy a bigger tractor, another tractor? it's got to be a very special price, I think. Primarily at this point, we've got all the equipment we absolutely need to run this farm. And now we're getting to the point of how much, do I like... I would like a bigger seeder. I would like a spreader for lime. I would like, this. I would like that. But I don't absolutely need it right this minute. So my primary attention at the moment is, can I raise more money to buy more fields so we're making income? HB. So yeah, so if you need 200 plus horsepower, you go and look for a 200 plus horsepower tractor, which is probably going to be medium. 7 HB. Yeah, we ended up, I think we got that one. Yes, we got that one, the base game model. That's tight. See the Kubotas are just 200 horsepower. This is just 200 horsepower. That's a little bit more expensive, but gives you a little bit more capacity. But again, if you've got a flat map, 200 horsepower is probably good for a starting tractor. This is older. This is older. So you're getting more for a lower price. The 7's good. It's up to 200. Older tractor. 225 maybe. The McCormick's 140. The T is 270. Well, that's good engine size. That's a good engine size. The 8S gets you over 300, the 7720 gets you up to 280, that gets you to 305. So this is limited in 247, but if 247's enough, then you don't have to go bigger. T7 gets you over 300, the 6R gets you up to 300. I mean, if any one of these came up, the Axion, I might up engine. The Valtra, I might up engine. The McCormick, sufficient. It's 190. It's on the smaller side, but I could configure that as a fieldwork vehicle. Okay, the rotor is going. The arm needs to come in, and we need to roll. Okay. One of the things I am looking to put on to purchase for the farm is one of those which will fit on the front of the tractor, so I don't have to put crop sensors on the wing mirrors. And once I do that, I can have a big tractor, I can have a small tractor, I can, so long as I'm prepared to put it in the workshop, swap it to narrow tyres, I can then do spraying and all of that thing with any tractor I want, even the John Deere. Although I don't know that tractor supports narrow tyres. It's an 8R. It is what it is. But brand, I'm not interested. I'm not too worried about brand. Hull Baileron. Okay. So yeah. Hull Baileron has a couple of steep hills towards the back end, but in the prime location where the beginner farm is, it's very, very flat. So as far as field work is concerned, you don't need something heavy. And for shipping, you can always get a truck, which has a little bit more horsepower. And is more suited to driving on the road and delivering stuff. I would like to have a truck, but at the moment I can't justify it. I'd like to upgrade the Land Rover. I think I've got the option to upgrade the Land Rover. Engined vehicles. Is it cars? No, I do not. Oh yes, I have the Defender 90. I'd like to upgrade to that one. That's 64 horsepower. That's 300 horsepower, so that's going to be a little bit better. So I'd like to upgrade to that, but yeah, it's not a necessity at the moment. Our little Land Rover is sufficient to haul around a header trailer once in a while. But for me, it's always deciding what I need for a job, and then wait until it comes. And I knew, when the John Deere came up, it was sort of it's too good a deal to pass off, because 400 horsepower almost, I can hitch a lot of big seeders, cultivators if I need to do cultivating, plows if I need to do plowing. I can put a lot on the back of that. I don't have anything to put on the back of that, but it now gives me the flexibility. If a 12 meter seeder comes up in the store sales, why wait? I could buy it now, because I now have the tractor to haul it. With the Deutz, with only 250 just under horsepower, a usable horsepower of 220 on hilly fields, it really limited what I could do. I found that a lot of the starting tractors in the game, you're looking at 180 horsepower, at least base game maps. Even some of the other maps, you're looking at 180, 200 horsepower, and you're limited to approximately 3 to 4 meter equipment. If you want to move up to 6 meter equipment, you need 250, I think. I mean, we have a mod seeder, which is a direct drill, and 4.5 meters and 125 horsepower is adequate to pull that. I could pull that with the Massey Ferguson if I wanted to. I don't, because the Massey Ferguson's usually doing something else like mowing the grass. And cruise control on, and so yeah, we look at seeders. 125 horsepower for 3 meters, 165 horsepower for 3 meters. So if you've got 180 horsepower tractor, you can't go much bigger than that. 220 horsepower for 4 meters. I can't get that on a 200 horsepower tractor. I could try, but I'm going to struggle. This thing, 300 horsepower. This thing, 210 for 6 meters. So, it's sort of 250 horsepower. I'm starting to get to 6 meters. That's too big for my Deutz. That I could run on the Deutz, but I've got 7 horsepower capacity, 8 meters. So potentially might work, but it might be a struggle. That's only 180 for 12 meters. I do like that, and we've overused it on previous series. But 180 horsepower. That's 300, and then this is 70. This is 90. That's 240. That's 100. That's 85 for 4.5 meters, and there's the double, which is 85 for 9 meters. And then there's the Kubota 130 for 3 meters. So you're starting tractors at about 150 or 180 horsepower. Struggle with anything over 3, maybe at a stretch 4 meters. Even some of the 3 meter seeders are a problem. Okay, we're not doing that row, we're not doing that row, we're doing this row, and we might run out of space. 80%. Hope we get to the end. We should do. So at 200 plus horsepower, you're going to be looking at, you might fit a couple of 4 meter seeders in. The 12 meter Lemkin would work for you if you expand to that, but you're going to eventually need a bigger tractor to run that big equipment. And so that's where, as soon as that 8R came up, it was like, I can't pass this up, because it gives me the opportunity sometime down the road to go for, oh, we've run out of space. Oh. But it opens up opportunities to expand the farm equipment if things come up. And there was time we got a butterfly mower, rear mower, 180 horsepower, which you add to a front mower that's 90 horsepower, too big for the Deutz to pull, so absolutely useless. I am going to have to reverse all the way back. So yes, probably we're going to end up with a mowing system upgrade sometime, and the John Deere is available for that now, which it wasn't in the past. So that's what I'm looking at when I see a tractor. I don't necessarily have to have a tractor that has narrow tyres installed on it. It might be a bonus if I'm looking for a field work tractor, but it's $1,000 to add narrow tyres to a tractor you have. If the tractor doesn't have the option of mounting narrow tyres, then that might become a purchase consideration if I don't already have another option. Typically, your starting tractor, you're probably looking at something that has many of the toys. So you can run wide tyres, you can run wheel weights, you can run narrow tyres, you can run road tyres, and it's just this tractor. Your first tractor is frequently this will do for now. It's a jack of all trades. It's not particularly good at any one thing, but it allows me to achieve all the tasks on the farm that are important to achieve. Later on, you're going to start targeting more specific stuff. And so you're going to have an idea based on the equipment what you want, what horsepower you need. I don't even think this has wide tyres on it. I've just picked a brand that creates that makes tyres that are generally wider than Trelleborg do. But it's not specifically wide tyres on this. It does have wheel weights, which is going to help with traction going uphill when we have multiple implements digging into the dirt and creating friction. This is going to be fairly adequate. And if it's not, I can put wider tyres on it. Okay, you park there, turn you off. And I need to figure out where the harvester is. There's the harvester. Okay. And maybe we should go forwards. That would be a plan. So yeah, as I said, the Deutz, we had front loader arms, and I decided I needed a tractor with front loader arms. Beaten potato harvest. And we will probably get into beet harvesting at some point. Right now we have, I don't have a tiny tractor to run the topper, which is something I generally look for. In the past, our small tractor, I think on all our farm, on Oakfield we had the Valtra G. And that was the tractor I stuck the topper on, and I sent it out to the potato field or the beet field and just said, worker, go and top this field. It had narrow tyres, so no crop destruction. Once you've topped the field, you can drive all over it and not kill the crop. So I prefer to top a field even if I've got the big self-propelled harvesters, because if they turn badly, they will destroy the potatoes or the beets. Which from my point of view is not a good thing. So topping the crop off to start, I tend to go that way. And I just need a tiny tractor that can just run around the field and do that. It's a matter of interest. I think we'll get to the end and turn around before we do matters of interest. But as I said, I might be looking for a mid-range, sort of 180, 200 horsepower field tractor, and then we'll reconfigure the Deutz to have standard or large wide tyres and be more of a general purpose. Okay, I was going to look at okay, beat technology, and that thing there is the topper. Requires 85 horsepower, so yeah, we could really look down here and just say, oh look, that's 75. So the 3700 AL, we could go with that. We could go with that. That's a thing. Go with that. That comes up, yeah. So if that came up at 28,000, I could say, you know what, we're just getting into see most of these. Good. That's got a weight on the front. We've got one of those with a weight on the front, so that doesn't work because you put the topper on the front. Valtra G, Fendt 300. I'd like to have a Fendt 300. We haven't had one of those ever, I think. T6 would work, although now we're getting into a little bit bigger than we actually need. 6M the same. Linden's good. 136 Maxim. So yeah, there are some tractors. There's some small cheap tractors that I would consider looking at and saying, you know what, once we get into beet farming, that would make a good tractor for topping. But I don't have any other jobs for it, so I'm not going to buy it now. And I could always run a bigger tractor like the Deutz on the topper. It's not as agile. It's a, obviously longer frame. It doesn't turn around quite as efficiently, but it's a battle of making do with. I can see a use for that, and maybe I want to get into that as early as possible. As I said, the 8R, I bought it way early, and I could have easily have used a smaller tractor to supplement the Deutz, but it opens avenues, so that just triggered my I've got to buy that. With harvesters, we got, I think it was last winter, this harvester came up, so yeah, I'll buy that, because I can see a point. We're getting to the point where I don't want to be leasing tractors for 3-4 months in a row because you charge the daily use. The previous year, I believe we had, it's not the Torian, which is the front loader, wheel loader for the class. We came up with a mid-sized class, and then the very next month, I think that came up in December, and then in January the Lexion came up, and it sort of just the wrong time. It wasn't, I could buy those, but I kind of need the money to buy land, and frankly, it's bugging me. Harvesters, Triumph. This thing came up, and 150,000, but it's sort of, no, I need land. It's a little bit bigger than the harvester we're currently running, and then that was followed up the next month with Alexian, and it just sort of, huge, and seriously, I can't justify spending the money on it at that time. This came up, it was 150,000, 140. We had to buy the header new, we had to buy the header trailer new, but we've got 5 fields to harvest. And we started the harvesting on, July. We harvested two fields. We harvested oats, we harvested wheat. August we've harvested barley, Next month we'll be harvesting canola. Next month we'll be harvesting our soybeans. That's like 4 months that we would have had to have paid the daily leasing cost to keep the harvester on the farm until that harvest was complete.